If you're sitting at home thinking, gee, I've got an empty spot in the garage and I'd really like a classic European two-door coupe to take to Cars and Coffee this weekend, I'm pretty sure you're not thinking, you know what, I'd really like a Borgward Isabella TS. A what? But maybe that's a shame, because this car is, in my very humble opinion, charming and cool in a stately, Germanic but not Mercedes way. And I knew nothing at all about it until Damien drew my attention to it. Now I want to buy it. It's time for a ride around the block with Damien. They had a saying, it's from, I think, a place called Buxtehude.
Okay.
And in German they have a saying, it's from Buxtehude, wer die Hunde mit den Schwanz bellen, which means it's a place where the dogs bark with their asses.
Only in Germany. Yeah, very good.
Who says the Germans don't have a sense of humour? That's hilarious.
Have a look at it.
Huzzah!
And there we are.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, certainly comfy.
I think it's a windows down kind of car.
Yes, 100%.
I'm ready to go for a ride in my Borgward Isabella Coupe.
Your first Borgward drive.
How many gears have you got?
We'll find out. No, it'd be a 4-speed, so that'll be second. Yeah, that's second.
Okay.
That'll be third, and that'll be fourth.
Okay.
So that's first.
Where's reverse?
There.
You found it.
So you don't want to go for reverse at the wrong time. You know, I've got an old Peugeot with a column shift, and that's an H pattern that's quite different to this. So
yeah.
I would have thought all European cars might have been the same, but not so.
All European cars be the same? Are you mad?
Yes, we are talking about Europe, where everything changes as soon as you cross the border. And away we go.
It's totally up to you, buddy. Here he goes. Yeah, so you found second?
We're in second.
Quite a tall jump there from first to second.
Yeah.
I like the ride.
Yeah, very pliant. I think the seats help.
In fact, just staying aboard this seat's going to be a bit of an expedition. Whoa, we're cornering at like 15 miles an hour and I'm struggling to stay aboard.
Yeah, not a lot to hold you in place there.
Now, if this was the Citroen, it'd be just as soft,
yeah.
But it'd be staying flat because...
Exactly. Yeah, it's quite something, isn't it? I love the little indicators up there on the bonnet. See that one flashing away over there?
Oh, yes. I want at least one pedestrian to at least glance and do something.
Acknowledge you're
something positive
in a nice car.
Seems to go okay.
Yeah. For a relatively small engine in a fairly largish car, it handles the job of pulling us around quite well, I think.
And turning circle's pretty good.
Not bad, yeah. Some cars won't get around that in one go.
And there's plenty of torque there.
Yeah. We've sort of become accustomed to such large capacity engines over the years, but that was just the way it was in the 50s. People accepted that you could do a lot with a small engine.
Yeah.
And I guess with manual gearboxes, you just worked a little bit harder. But,
you go, I don't understand how anyone can buy a car these days that doesn't do 0 to 100 in 6 seconds, because it's just too slow.
Exactly.
You go, settle down.
The point is that, look, it will keep up with modern traffic. You're not in people's way.
Mate, that's a Camry Conquest and you're keeping up with it.
Yes, I'm trying not to get too close to it.
No.
Don't want it spoiling your shot.
Yes, how dare you put a Camry in my shot? Here we go.
Right, round the corner, a little bit of body roll and plenty of sliding around on the seats, but we made it round.
It goes fine, and here he goes. Oh, the ride's superb.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And look,
vans give way to...
A P-plater in a van gave way to you. That's never ever happened before.
Yes, you get respect in a Borgward that you wouldn't get in other cars. I think they probably also wonder if your brakes are working.
Yeah, that's probably it.
That's the beauty of driving a classic car, I have to say, is that you do find people give you a wide berth.
Yeah.
Spaces just sort of magically open up for you that wouldn't be there in a modern car.
I found the same thing on my VTR 1000 Firestorm. People get out of the way, but for a different reason.
For different reasons, yes.
Oh, I'm digging it, man.
Yeah, no, this is a very pleasant place to be, isn't it, on a nice sunny day like this?
So it'll be fascinating to see what it actually goes for, this car.
Sure.
It's very, very hard to gauge the market.
It is. We can only go by some of the past results, but we've had some interest in the car, which is encouraging at this stage.
So the current owner of this car?
Yes. He bought it off Shannon's about 7 years ago. Hasn't done a lot with it. It's lived in a collection, I think, down in the south coast.
Did he drive it much? Did he take it out?
Oh, look, I think he did a few club events and things in it down there, but I don't think it's done a lot of mileage since he bought it, which is typical of cars like this. You know, if we do see them again, quite often the mileages will have, you know, maybe only moved a couple of thousand. So, as we all know, with old cars like this, they really enjoy being used on a regular basis. The more you drive them, the better they get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different sort of fun, isn't it? I mean, it's appreciating just the different sort of, you know, the different ways cars were built in those days compared to what we have today. That's the enjoyment, is that everything on this car is just not what you see on a modern car, and the way it's put together is beautifully done. You know, the finish on it's lovely. You've got to learn to drive it again. None of us drive manual cars anymore, really. To be honest, you know, we all like to think we do, but
there's driving a manual and driving a manual. You know, my Skoda's a manual car, but this is a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, you've got to actually use your mind and think about what you're doing a little bit.
That's the fun of driving.
Yeah, it is. It's quite a different experience.
Hey, look, we're back at Shannon's.
Here we are back.
Let's go in there and check out the flash cars they got.
Yeah, I'll put this one back to bed.
Well, Borgward Isabella, 1959.
Yes.
I was 2 years old, and you were not even a twinkle in Mum and Dad's eye.
No, some way off.
That was cool, man.
It's one thing I don't like about this shift pattern is that reverse and first are the same.
Very close together.
Way too close together.
Mind you, in a 996 Carrera, first and reverse, it's quite easy to push it a little too fast through the gate, sit at a traffic light, take off in a hurry, and back into that Hilux behind you. Somebody who likes cars, if you're watching inCARnation, you probably like cars. Somebody in Australia, buy this car.
Yes.
It
definitely deserves a good home.
On the narrow European streets of its era, this was a fairly large car, especially for a two-door, two-seater coupe. But compared to, for example, American two-door tanks of the late 1950s, it's a very compact car. And compared to the Australian Holden and Ford of the era, suddenly this lovely old Borgward feels positively nimble. Equally slow it may be, but a much nicer driving experience. It was a special car, and I really enjoyed our short pedal around the block. So thank you, Damien. If you want to own it, it's going to auction on the 22nd of this month. You can watch it online.